Welcome back to Phoenix Rates Unearthed Arcana. Less stupid edition this time, because this time I'm not going to read bloody everything, I'm just going to kind of read it, quickly summarize it, and then kind of give my thoughts about it. First thing is a new fighter subclass, the Psychic Warrior. Because yes, this UA kind of has a theme of, well, psionic powers. This is not somebody who can see into the future, or at least that's not the standard use of it in D&D. Psychic is more can use psionic powers, which is just, in a lot of ways, telekinesis. It's a cool idea, a fighter who fights with his mind. The first thing is psionic armaments. This is kinda shit. It has two options, and you can choose at the break of dawn. Either augmented defense, where you can protect somebody from 1d10 damage within 30 feet of you with a reaction. That 1d10 lowers the amount of damage they take, which is kinda shit. In a lot of ways this is very similar to the new fighting style thing that there was, which in my opinion is largely a replacement of the defensive fighting style or the protective fighting style, whichever one it was, because instead of giving disadvantage to an attack, that one lowers the amount of damage they take by 1d10 plus proficiency bonus. Augmented defense does it by 1d10, and at 10th level that upgrades to 1d12. That's kinda shit. Proficiency bonus goes up 2 points between level 1, well I guess level 3 in this case, and level 10. And this goes up from a d10 to a d12, which is an average increase of 1. Now it does have more range, I'll give it that, it's just, in my mind it's really underwhelming, and augmented strikes. You do 1d4 extra psychic damage on an attack once per turn, which increases to a d6 at 10th level. It's a minor bit of extra damage, 2 extra damage on average. It's kinda shit. Like, it's cool, but it's not particularly... numbers-wise, it's definitely not worth it. And you get a telekinetic hand at 3rd level, which gives you Mage Hand, but it's invisible, which is... I guess it's neat, but it's... so many things get Mage Hand, it's really not that special. It's not... you're not going to be standing out because you have a Mage Hand. Ooh, but it's invisible. You can't do special stuff with it. Mage Hand being invisible is amazing for the Arcane Trickster, because they can actually do stuff with the invisible hand. A lot of things getting invisible Mage Hands really only works to make the Arcane Trickster less interesting, which is just kind of annoying in my mind. Yes, so far 3rd level Psychic Warrior Fighter, not impressed. Strength of Mind is pretty cool, I think. Relatively short range of 20 feet, which I guess would be fine for a melee fighter, but a ranged fighter this would be difficult to use, although it does really have a use for that. So the target has to make a strength saving throw, which is great because a lot of things, well, strength saves are not one of the most common. You won't be able to push a big thing away, but more a dexterous fighter or a lot of beasts you can push away, which is neat. The difficulty class is from your intelligence, which I guess does make the Psychic Warrior an intelligence-based fighter, well, kind of. But that's not uncommon, and I think it's kind of neat that they make fighters be smart, because that's kind of the difference between fighters and barbarians. Fighters fight smart, barbarians just fight hard. If they fail to save, they take 2d6 damage plus intelligence, and are moved 15 feet towards you or away from you, your choice. And you can do this int modifier amount of times per long rest. So for a fighter this means basically get over here. Or for a ranged fighter this means get the fuck away from me so I can shoot at you from range. Which does make it interesting. It gives you a way to get out of melee combat. At 10th level you get access to Telekinetic Bulwark, which is pretty neat actually. It's a 10 feet radius that you can lash out as an attack action, so this works very well with your multiple attacks. And allies within that range get half cover and advantage on strength checks, which for a lot of characters are terrible. You can use it once per long rest, or until you use your second wind feature, which, if I'm not horribly mistaken, recharges on a short rest. So this thing itself doesn't recharge on a short rest, it recharges on using your second wind, so you could use it twice in a battle. You could use this, you could then use your second wind to regain some health, and then you can use it again. Probably don't want it, it lasts for a minute, and it's not concentration, so that's very neat, so it probably will last through the entire combat. So yeah, I definitely think this is a very interesting one. At 15th level, you get Agonizing Strikes. When you hit a creature, you can do 2d10 extra psychic damage. It doesn't say you have to declare this beforehand, so you can wait for a crit, so it will take 4d10 extra psychic damage because you want to do a lot of damage. And the target has to make a Constitution saving throw, generally a pretty good saving throw, so that's kind of sad. But that's not against the damage. Instead, it makes it fall prone, and it has disadvantage on all ability checks until your next turn. So I guess what this would be perfect for is you hit it very hard with a crit, and if you can, grapple the target, because it had disadvantage on avoiding getting grappled and breaking out of the grapple, and then you can hold it grappled on the floor, which is utterly terrifying. And you can do this your int modifier amount of times. And at 18th level, you get Psychic Dreadnought. This is basically your superpower ability. When you take damage as a reaction, you, for 1 minute, regain 10 hit points every turn. Your walking speed increases by 10 feet, and if you're prone, you can stand up using 5 feet of movement. It's a 1-a-day thing, but it's quite terrifying, especially that hit point regeneration, because it doesn't have an upper limit. So if the combat ends at the 4th turn, you have 6 turns and each turn you regain 10 hit points, so you regain 60 hit points. That's terrifying. Doesn't keep you from dying per se, it's not if you are able to regenerate, you don't drop dead, but it does mean if you go down, but not dead yet, you regain 10 hit points, and congratulations, it's the start of your turn, you just have to spend 5 feet of movement to get up and start being a terrifying fighter again. Holy shit, this is horrifying. Just do this the turn you drop, because it's using your reaction when you take damage. Do it the moment you drop, and you fall prone, but you instantly, at your turn, instantly get up and can start fighting again. Holy shit, this is horrifying. So, Psychic Warrior, all in all, the first thing is kind of shit in my opinion, but the rest of the stuff is quite interesting. Strength of Mind is very cool, Telekinetic Bulwark is very useful, Agonizing Strikes basically gives the fighter some smites, int amount of smites a day, which do more than just regular smites, and Psychic Dreadnought is just, yeah, I refuse to die now, fuck you. Next is a roguish archetype, the Soulknife. This is basically, do you want to stab people with your mind? Because the Soulknife rogue will allow you to stab people with your mind, apparently leaving no physical wounds. So, good luck tracking that down, you were stabbed, but it doesn't leave a wound because it attacked, I guess, your soul? I don't know, attacked your soul, attacked your mind, whatever, you're dead, and good luck tracking the non-existent knife. At 3rd level immediately you can create Psychic Blades that you can, as a bonus action you can make 1 or 2 of them appear. They are kind of a combination of short sword and dagger. 1d6 psychic damage, so that's very neat. Thrown, 30 feet, regular range, 60 long range, and the finesse property, and the light property of course. So if you want, you can dual wield Soulknives, which is very cool. Sad thing is, if you want to throw them, they kind of suck for it, because it takes a bonus action to summon them. But definitely very cool. And you are never without a weapon, because, well, what are they going to take away? Your mind? Maybe. As a DM, I would definitely say that you can't use this ability if you're feeble-minded, but if you're feeble-minded, you probably have bigger problems than being disarmed. At 3rd level, you also get Psionic enhancements, which basically gives you a minor power-up that you can choose once again at the start of the day. The options are communicate telepathically with people, 30 feet, and if they know a language they can talk back to you. Or you can be slightly faster, 5 feet faster, which doesn't sound like a lot, mainly because it's not a lot, but could definitely be useful. Or probably, at least for adventuring days, the most useful one, your hit point maximum and current hit points increase by an amount equal to your intelligence modifier plus your rogue level. Let's say you have a +2 to intelligence and you get this at 3rd level, well, congratulations, you have 5 extra hit points. That's not nothing, that can definitely save you. What this can definitely help you with is, hey, I'm a rogue, my important ability scores with this are my dexterity and my intelligence. With this you can kind of dump constitution, because you no longer rely on constitution. Well, you do kind of rely on constitution in a lot of ways, but you can kind of substitute intelligence for your constitution score for health. Which is very cool. You no longer need good constitution to not immediately die. At 9th level you get Terrifying Blade. You can force a creature you attack to make a wisdom save, which sadly is often very good, against ADC qualified by your intelligence modifier. If they fail, they are frightened of you until your next turn, which is, it's not bad, it's just also not great. And if they succeed, they are not frightened and immune for a day. The good part about this is, it does trigger on every attack, so you can stab someone and they are now terrified of you, and this does make you a bit more viable. You can fight a very big monster because you can stab them and they are scared of you, so now they don't. They are less good at hitting you and your allies, so you don't immediately die when you stand on the front line. It's not great and it's kind of underwhelming for a 9th level thing, but it definitely has its uses. At 13th level you get Psychic Veil. This basically just allows you to become invisible for 10 minutes every time, and just like regular invisibility, when you attack or force a creature to do a save, it ends. And you can do this your intelligence modifier times a day, so it's useful, just like invisibility is useful, but this is 13th level and you're a rogue. You probably have expertise in sneak. Why do you need to become invisible to not be seen? It's useful, sure, but it's kind of underwhelming, I think. At 17th level you get Rend Mind. And I think this one does kind of redeem the Soulknife. I definitely was kind of thinking of this subclass. I mean, its 1st level stuff is quite good, but the other stuff is kind of meh. If your game gets to 17th level ever, which is quite rare, then this ability is absolutely terrifying. You can force a creature to make an intelligence saving throw, something everything sucks terrible at, and they have disadvantage on save if you are hidden. Remember, you're a rogue, you can hide as a bonus action. So you hide, and then you do this, and they have to make an intelligence saving throw, something pretty much every creature sucks at disadvantage. This does 12d6 psychic damage, and the target is stunned. If they succeed, half damage and not stunned. this does consume a psychic blade of you. Everyone gets advantage. And you can do this int modifier amount of times a day. That's a lot of times to really hurt someone's mind. That's not very nice of you. So yeah, Soulknife Rogue, A for aesthetic, but Terrifying Blade and especially Psychic Veil will kind of make it do not too much between 3rd and 17th level. Then again, you are still a rogue, so it's not like you don't get epic stuff in between, it's just your roguish archetype isn't too epic between things. But then again, roguish archetypes very often aren't great. They really almost always have their cool stuff at the start and then some epic thing at the end, but in between they always kind of suffer. But hey, among roguish archetypes, this is definitely a very cool one. And then the last subclass, the Psionic Arcane Tradition. Obviously for the wizard. Basically, wizards do pretty much every sort of magic except for healing. Why don't they do psionic magic? Well, let's give them psionic magic, and basically this allows you to transcend your body. So I guess this is kind of ethereal plane, but into the real plane, into the primaterial plane-ish. And you might be able to not need material components. Going to have to read if this means that you don't need them for regular spells, or if you don't need them at all, so you can bypass the very high costs of some spells. Which would be very neat, if a bit broken probably. At 2nd level you get a Psionic Focus. This is basically a replacement for your Arcane Focus, but it does have one major benefit. Psychic or force damage you roll, you can reroll any once. Let me remind you that one of the main 1st level spells that a lot of wizards will at least begin with casting is Magic Missile, a spell where you get to roll 3 d4s. The chance that you get to reroll one of them for more damage is insanely high, so this definitely makes Magic Missile a lot better. And Magic Missile was always good because it basically just said, yeah, I'm going to hurt you now, and if you lose it you can regain it over a short or long rest, which is definitely very useful because, hey, you no longer can ever be without your Arcane Focus. Nobody can disarm you once again, so that's neat. This also gives you Psionic Devotion at 2nd level. You get a new cantrip, either Friends, Mage Hand or Message, and each one of them, if you have your Psionic Focus, gets a very neat buff. If you choose Friends, when the spell ends, the target doesn't become hostile towards you. This is amazing. Why? Well, there are a couple reasons why this is fucking broken. For one, this is basically a very short charm person that you can just keep casting. Oh, the spell ended, I cast it again. Oh, the spell ended, I cast it again. Normally, the problem with that is the target becomes hostile towards you and Friends doesn't work on a hostile target. Now it doesn't, so you can just keep casting it. Now it does know that you used magic on it, but yeah, I cast the spell again. So it might know, but you have advantage on making them not hate you for it. Now in the end they might think that, oh yeah, that entire conversation was him manipulating my mind, but they are not forced to become hostile towards you. The DM might still say that, oh yeah, no, they're not okay with you doing that, but they are no longer forced to make them plot against you in some way. Mage Hand is once more invisible, but controlling the spell is a bonus action to you. Not casting the spell, but controlling the hand is a bonus action to you. Still doesn't say you can do something like pickpocket with it, and other than that, I don't know a lot of ways how you could use the hand in combat to really make it need your bonus action, but I guess it's neat. And Message, well, Message just turns into telekinesis, because because you don't need to point towards your target and you don't need to whisper the message. So it basically just turns into telepathy. Not a bad thing, but I would really go with friends because honestly that's the biggest difference. At 6th level you get Thought Form. This allows you to, for 10 minutes every time, turn into kind of more a magical form, which can take any shape that you want, but it does still have to be the same size as you. Not the same shape as you, so if you want you can turn from a elf into a giant fuck-off magic spider, but it does have to be the same shape as you. And while in this form, you don't need verbal, somatic or material components as long as those components don't cost any gold, which is quite amazing because, hey, somebody wants to cast silence on you? Well, that doesn't work. They have your hand bounds? Well, you don't need hands to cast anything. You do need your new focus to assume this form, but other than that, once you do it, you can't be stopped casting your spells as long as they don't need material components. And you also basically rage. You gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing and slashing from non-magical attacks, and you also become resistant to psychic damage. And this is not concentration, you can just do this and it lasts for 10 minutes. And you can do this your int modifier amount of times, which is very neat, because wizards are intelligence based anyway, so it's probably pretty good. At 10th level you get Mental Discipline. You can learn either Dominate Person, Scrying or Telekinesis, and you can cast the spell once without using a spell slot per day. So that's pretty neat, right? You can cast one spell for free a day. Not particularly neat, but hey, free spells, and they're quite high level spells with a lot of uses. I would probably go with either Scrying, because being able to spy on people can be terrifyingly useful, or Telekinesis because it's a very powerful spell, and being able to use it once without it using your resources makes you be able to use it in more interesting ways. You also at 10th level gain Empowered Psionics, which allows you to add your intelligence modifier to 1 instance of psychic or force damage per spell. So it's only 1 target, so it's not like you can cast Magic Missile at 5 targets and all of them instantly completely die. But hey, you can add your intelligence modifier to a certain type of damage. That's always neat. At 14th level you get the subclasses Ultimate Ability, Thought Travel. You, in your thought form, gain a flying speed equal to your walking speed. Not bad, but not that great either. And you can move through objects and creatures. If you end your turn inside a creature or object, you take 1d10 force damage, and if you return to your regular form, you are pushed out of the object or person you were in and take 1d10 force damage for every feet traveled, for every 5 feet traveled. Did you notice that? You take 1d10 force damage if you end your turn inside an object. You're not pushed out. If you have enough health, you can walk through a solid mountain. Yes, you take damage, but you're not pushed out. You can make it through all the way. And of course also a flying speed, which doesn't require concentration, which is very powerful on a wizard, because, hey, this battle is kind of hard. I am going to take my thought form and walk a couple feet into the air. Well, melee monsters are now fucked, they can't hit you. And ranged monsters, they might be able to hit you still, but they can't drop you. Now maybe Earthbind would still work, but well, that's a very specific spell that most monsters do not have prepared. It really is something that your DM has to specifically prepare for you, because people are flying. I don't think there are any regular monsters that have Earthbind. Then again, this is not me saying that, hey, you should look down on your DM for using spells like Earthbind, because it's a very basically as DM you want to be able to counter certain things that your party is doing. Because if the DM can't counter you, then you're basically not allowed to counter any enemies. Oh, this monster has a flying ability, well, you're not allowed to cast Earthbind on it either, because that would be counteracting one of its abilities. And I'm rambling on, let's move to the next bit. It also contains a list of very psionic-y spells, so I guess if you want to give certain spells to your psionic wizard, which makes sense, then there is a very nice list here. Or if you want to give psionic abilities to a monster, well, these are a lot of abilities that you can take from. Basically things that manipulate minds, change the perception, able to see different places, change how things are seen, move objects, teleportation, or psychic and force damage. So basically, do you want to make your mind flayers tougher? Give them some of these spells as psionic powers. And it also contains some new spells, which are for the Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock and Wizard. So all the Arcane casters get some new spells in this, which is neat. And I'll quickly go over them. And I'll go by order of spell level, which definitely makes this more trouble for me and most people have probably turned off, but fuck it, let's do it anyway. First up, the only cantrip, Mind Sliver. This one was actually already in a previous Unearthed Arcana, and I think it's very good. 1d6 psychic damage, so hard to resist but not a lot of damage. Does scale. Intelligence saving throw, so that's really good. And the next saving throw the target has to make before the end of your next turn is lowered by 1d4. This is basically a mini Bane, which is amazing because you can first cast Mind Sliver on them, and then you can make them do some saving throw like, I don't know, Banishment, and now they have even less chance to make it, which can be very useful, especially if it's something that you want to banish. First level, there's id Insulation, or I guess it's ID Insulation, I have no idea. There's probably some interesting reason behind the spell's name. Is the id something in psychology? I don't know, it probably is, I think I remember something like it. Concentration for 1 minute, the target has to make an intelligence saving throw, they can't make decisions, so which means that they are incapacitated as long as the spell lasts. They take 1d12 psychic damage, and at the end of their turn they can make a wisdom saving throw. On one side, wisdom saving throws are very often easier, but this is a very good comparison to Tasha's Hideous Laughter, which gives the target also wisdom save at the end of their turn, but also every time they take damage. That's not in this. Now they are not prone, so once the spell ends they're not still fucked, but it's definitely it has its uses. It does some damage and it incapacitates, which is a very good status effect. Well, it's a very good status effect to inflict. You don't want to get incapacitated yourself, but hey, that's hopefully not what this spell will do. Don't get this spell redirected at you. At second level, you get Mental Barrier, which is probably not a spell you want to pick up immediately once you get second level spells, but is so amazing. It's a reaction spell that you take when you have to make an intelligence, wisdom or charisma save, and it gives you advantage on that type of save, plus resistance to psychic damage. This is amazing because things that make you have to make an intelligence, wisdom or charisma save can fuck you up. This includes things like being teleported to a different plane of existence. Plane shift is a charisma saving throw. That's probably a save you want to have advantage on, and this gives you advantage at the cost of a second level spell. At something like maybe 7th level or something, or even higher level, this is something that will, or at least definitely can, save your life. Also 2nd level spell, Mind Thrust. It's an intelligence saving throw, 3d6 psychic damage, and the target can only dash or disengage if it fails the save. So basically this is a make the target run away spell, and make the target not attack spell. That's, I think, the more interesting part about it. Like, dashing and disengaging, that might be annoying because the target can now run away still, but it can't hit you, so that's very neat. Also, what's very neat about it is, if you cast it at a higher level, you can target an additional creature. So, let's say 7th level, you can shut out 3 different creatures with this. And once again, I'll say it once more, intelligence saving throws are amazing because a lot of things suck at intelligence saving throw. I know wizard casters don't, but a lot of things do. Intelligence tends to be one of the... well, it's also the dump stat of a lot of monsters. Then again, you do not want to have this cast on you as a party member. As a player, this spell is terrifying, as are many of these spells because they are debilitating and intelligence saving throws are terrible for a lot of classes. Last 2nd level spell, Fault Shield. It's an 8-hour spell, it's basically non-detection but instead for people invading your faults. Your mind can't be read or detected, creatures can't telepathically communicate with you unless you allow it, and you have advantage against basically Zone of Truth and other effects like that. It's not amazing, but I think this is more a spell for DMs to give to some creature or a target or whatever, so they aren't forced to tell the truth immediately, which definitely helps. It is definitely something that can be very useful. Ooh, I know a character who could use this. Yeah, hi my party, this won't be helpful for you. 3rd level, we're almost halfway with the spells and apparently there are also new feats, which is awesome but also fuck. Psionic Blast. It's a very close to you fireball that does psychic damage. It's a 30-foot cone, dex save, 5d8 force damage, no, not psychic force, I'm an idiot. And if they fail the save they are pushed 20 feet away from you and are knocked prone. On a save, half damage, not pushed, not prone. The standard things. Upcast for 1 extra d8 damage. 4th level. Ego Whip. This is a cool one. The target has to make an intelligence saving throw, concentration up to 1 minute. If they fail, disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks and saving throws. And the target can't cast spells. Now on a wizard, they will probably succeed on the intelligence saving throw. As usual, intelligence saves are amazing, but not for wizards. But this does mean that if you come across something like a sorcerer enemy, you can cast this on them, and now they can't cast spells anymore. That's horrifying. I love it. They can repeat the save at the end of their turn, obviously, on a save, the spell fades. 5th level, Intelligence Fortress. 1 action, you cast it on yourself, concentration up to 10 minutes. This thing is also awesome. Once more, not really killing someone potential, but holy shit is this great. For the duration, you have advantage on all saving throws. All of them! I know, 5th level, it's high level, but holy fuck. Also, if a creature within 30 feet of you fails a saving throw, you can use your reaction to make them re-roll it. This does give you advantage on the check, on the save, to maintain concentration to keep this up. This will last. This is amazing. Also, another save that you can help someone with making is death saves. You can use this, you can use your reaction when you have this cast to make someone re-roll a failed death save. This is awesome. I love it. I love how these spells are not kill someone potential, how these spells are just basically change the game type spells. I love it. 6th level spell. This is a very high level spell, but oh my god, is it terrifying. Psychic Crush. Duration 1 minute. Not concentration. The target has to make an intelligence saving throw, taking 12d6 on a failed save, and is stunned for a minute. And they can of course repeat the save at the end of their turn, but intelligence saving throw to stop being stunned. For a minute. That is so much advantage. It's insane. If you have anything that can, I don't know, smite or a variation of smite or sneak attack, this is broken. I love it. This is a DM's worst nightmare, but oh my god, this is horrifying. It's amazing. And there are 2 new feats. Both, of course, very psionic in base because, well, that's what this UA is about. First one is telekinesis. Increase intelligence by 1. Very nice. There were way too few of them that increased your intelligence score. You get the Mage Hand cantrip, and you don't need verbal or somatic components to cast it. And as a bonus action, you can shove a creature within 5 feet of the Spectral Hand. The Spectral Hand that has a 30 feet range. And it has to make a strength save against your intelligence modifier DC, or be pushed 5 feet away from you. You can do this at range. Don't get me wrong, you do need to have Mage Hand active for it, which is kind of annoying, but this is definitely very useful because you can constantly do it. Because you don't need to do verbal or somatic components to keep casting spells, so you can basically say to your DM, yeah, I keep casting Mage Hand all the time, and most of them would probably accept it. And then you can push targets away with your mind in combat at range. That's very useful, that's very neat. I really like the flavor of it. It does kind of make the Psionic Devotion Mage Hand option not as spectacular, but definitely very interesting. And the very last one. Finally, this recording is 45 minutes long, even though I constantly paused it between reading stuff, so this has probably taken 1.5 hours probably. Telepathic. You increase your intelligence by 1, which is once more very nice. Probably for me because I really like playing intelligence things. You gain proficiency with 1 skill of your choice, which is always nice. It's always great when you get a skill proficiency. Especially when you play something like Wizards and they get so few proficiencies even though they are so smart. And you get either Deception, Insight, Intimidation or Persuasion. Basically the face skills. You get to be slightly facey as a wizard, which is awesome. And of course, you can communicate telepathically with a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. If it understands at least 1 language, it can respond to you telepathically. The wording here is very important. 1. You can communicate telepathically with any creature you can see within 30 feet. Any creature. Does it need to be able to speak? No. You can telepathically talk to a dog with this. The dog, as far as I understand the text of this, does understand. Because you can't, it's not you can talk telepathically with any creature, you can communicate. So you can communicate an idea with them. If it understands 1 language, it can respond to you telepathically. The wording that's important here is understand instead of speak. For instance, a zombie understands all the languages it knew in life, but can't speak. If you have the telepathic feat, you can talk to a zombie. I really like this one. I can see different classes also really wanting this. For instance, let's say you're a bard, let's say you want to really be the face of the party. Take telepathic, and you can be the face of the party towards any being. You come across a Celestial who only knows Celestial. Wow, that's really bad naming. And none of the party members have the language of Celestial in their repertoire. Doesn't matter, because you can telepathically speak with them, you can telepathically communicate. Yeah, this is awesome. Languages, you no longer need to know languages for this for you to be able to communicate, which I think is really neat, because you no longer need to waste a spell slot on tongues or comprehend languages. Well, you still won't comprehend languages if you find some text, but you no longer need it to communicate, which is, in my opinion, awesome. Now they can still talk in languages that you don't understand and, well, you can't understand what they're saying, so they can still easily keep secrets from you. But the ability to talk with anyone is amazing. I love this feat. I love both these feats, and I'm not the greatest fan of the subclasses. I mean, Wizard is very neat. The Roguish archetype is very cool, of course, but not too... doesn't quite blow me away. I mean, the first level things are very... well, not first, the third level things are very neat, but not particularly amazing. The Psychic Warrior, it's good. I guess it just doesn't speak too well to me, but it's very good actually. Just for some reason it doesn't render in my mind as amazing, even though it probably is. And the Psionic Arcane tradition is, well, it's definitely very cool. But really, the main draw of this UA for me is the new spells, the new Psionic spells, just the list of Psionic spells, which is just very useful, because who doesn't love to make a Psionic enemy? Psionic bugs. Make a swarm of Psionic bugs. They are hardy, they can't hurt you, but they have Psionic powers. I just came up with that on the fly and it sounds amazing. Just throw that at your party, they will be stunned because, well, it's a bunch of bugs, but they're psychic. They're Psionic bugs and they're gonna fuck you up, mate. And the new spells. They're not... I mean, there is some damaging stuff among it, but they're not so much damaging spells as they are debilitating spells. They are buffing spells, and I love them. Yeah, really big fan of this UA. It looks really good. I don't think it's overpowered. I think it's just new flavor, cool flavor, and holy shit, these spells and feats. So yeah, this has been Phoenix, saying farewell.